Hello, I'm Doug, and this is the Taste and Sensibility channel. And today we're at honey review number 32 on local honeys. And this will be the last honey review for a while, because we're moving on to black licorice and other things. So we might revisit, we might come back in 6 months or a year or 2 years and see what comments have collected, see what requests have collected, and see what other interesting honeys I've found. But today we're going to dive into these local honeys from around Louisiana and a couple other spots in the country. If you like the reviews that you're seeing here, be sure and give it a thumbs up, make some comments down below, subscribe to the channel, and click on that bell icon to get notified whenever we post a new video on Mondays and Thursdays. So much of this series of honeys has been on exotic ones from other parts of the world, from flowers we've never heard of or seen or tasted or smelled, foods and crops that we've never experienced directly. It's not always a practical way to fill your pantry shelves and breakfast table. So today I thought I would cover how easy it is to get honeys that are local to your area, for the most part. You got to have some bees and flowers and water and crops and things like that. So I can picture some parts of the Southwest being kind of devoid of those things. But lots of areas of the country can get quite a bit of local honey. If you look online, you'll see lots of health claims made about honey. And one of the biggest reasons given for preferring local honey is the immunology of it all. The local pollens and other things that are in there anecdotally help people with allergies and things. The collection of the local pollens and other things, antigens, help with allergies that people have. Another aspect that's purely practical is the cost. Something that doesn't have to travel so far or have to be processed or handled by a big company with a legal team and marketing and all those things, well, it's just going to end up being cheaper for you. And supporting a local business usually feels good to a lot of people because they're supporting friends or people that they know. So these first 4 honeys are simply things you can find in any grocery store here in the New Orleans area or in southeastern Louisiana, and probably lots of other parts of Louisiana. So these are not every one of the local things, but the major ones. And then these last 2 are local honeys I purchased on trips. So they're local to some other place. So they've got the terroir, they've got the local connection to the people, but the pollens and the allergens aren't going to help you down here. But we'll talk about that later. So I just want to go through these and see how similar they are. The beekeeper that told me about this Red Hill honey mentioned the Chinese tallow tree and how it's an invasive species that's all over Louisiana and on into Texas, and how it might be a major source of the honey that people collect in this area. So I have found these to be fairly similar and not like the varietals that I've had. So I'll see how similar they are. First one here, Carmichaels, raw and unfiltered Louisiana honey. See a little bit of ring of pollen and debris at the top here. Let me see. Youngsville, Louisiana, the 337 area code. So yeah, that's up north and a little to the west. And on the smell, it's very slightly funky. And there's a sweet component, like it's not quite maple, it's not quite molasses. It's an odd one, I don't know. A little tartness to it. So this might be unique. Maybe, well, we'll see how many. Relatively thin compared to some others I've had. Oh, wow. I like that. There's an extra note there that's not in the other 60 honeys we've had on the channel so far. It's a little tart. Might be fruity. Yeah, fruity is probably the best way to describe it, but what the fruit is, I don't know. It's got a little bit floral character also. So it's different. It's odd to my honey palate, but it's good and I like it. Okay, I think I'll go ahead and put that on a biscuit and give it a taste. Since it's a big squeeze bottle with lots in it, we'll just see how it works out with food. Buttermilk biscuit, unbuttered, nothing on it. Sweet, stays fruity. Fruity character changes a little bit with the bread and the graininess. So the sweet note is not mapley, not molassesy, but more fruity on the biscuit. So that is delicious on the biscuit. Now I'm ready to talk again, but my mouth is full of food. So Carmichaels. It's number one and pretty good. Next thing, Hummer and Son. 100% pure Louisiana honey, fried unfiltered, from Bossier City, up in the northwest corner by Shreveport on I-20. Ooh, a little bit more funkiness here on the smell, but nothing alarming. And you can see a little ring of pollen and bubbles and stuff at the top there. So these seem to have minimal processing so far. Oh, nice. It's a bit more of that unusual notes, but something about it's a little more familiar. It is fruity, a little bit floral, sweet. It's not really molasses character. Don't know how to describe it, but this is a little bit more pleasant and nice than the first one. Very nice. Wow, that was just good. You know, I didn't bring my spoons out, and I should have them out here. And our next entry here is Bernard's Pure Natural Acadiana Honey. This is from Breaux Bridge, Louisiana, out I-10 to the west of here. Ooh, a little sour. It's a little fusty, tart, writing things, notes in a very light, pleasant way. So that might be even more floral and exotic, like Manuka or Leatherwood from Tasmania. That's the nose I'm getting. Seems a little thin. Oh wow, taste is very much like these. Maybe in between. A little thinner consistency than average, but very tasty. That is nice. Might be a tad more syrupy, sugary. Maybe with in the molasses direction, maybe not. But it's nice flavor. Here, let's do a spoon if it fits. I want to get a little more of that. Yeah, that's very nice. That would be good. All sorts of cooking recipes, tea, that sort of thing. So Bernard's Apiaries, Inc. And I didn't mention that there's a website for Hummer and Sons. I'll link down to it below in the description. And lots of these companies that are too small to have a website will often have a Facebook page where you can connect with them and do things. So I'll put what I can down in the description below. Now here's one. It says Red Hill Pure Honey, local Red Hill Bee Farm, Independence, Louisiana. Now I talked to the beekeeper at the farmer's market where I bought this, and I've got a little video clip of him, so I'll show that a little bit after I do this tasting, because this is the place to put it. And he told me about the Chinese tallow tree and all that stuff. So the smell is about the same. A little bit of the funky stuff, just a light note, and you can tell it's going to be sweet, but you don't know how much. So let's get in there to it. Ooh, a little richer, deeper, more like a brown sugar and molasses note than any of these have been. And all of these seem a little bit thinner than the average of all the things I've been doing on the channel. So maybe the Chinese tallow tree nectar just ends up a little thinner viscosity-wise. Okay, let's just redo that whole thing. I want to get lots of this. It tasted very promising. Yeah, it's got the deeper, richer note that was hinted at in these. So it's got a sweetness that's fruity, it's got a tartness that's probably fruity, it's got a floral component, but there's just a little something extra in this guy that's reminiscent of brown sugar and molasses. So I'm going to put that in some tea here. Try to get about a tablespoon into this 8 ounces of tea maybe, and see if any of the characteristics of the honey stick with it. This is a mild black tea, Trader Joe's Irish breakfast tea. It doesn't have a lot of strong flavors. So most honeys pop or come out and show off their stuff, and it's not too hot to taste anything. Wow, that's pretty rich. That brown sugar and mapley, caramely, molassesy note is pretty strong. I don't get so much of the fruit, don't get so much of the tart. That's a pretty good sweetening. Brown sugar notes. So that's pretty good. So I'll sit here and sip this tea while I send you off to a video clip of Tim the beekeeper from Red Hill Farms talking about his honey. So this is a local farmer market that I've been to a few times. There's the honey guy.
Maybe it's Bill. You know, some people may look at it and say, oh, what is that? It's turning or...
Do you have the smaller squeeze bottles? Like
I don't. All I have.
Well, the squeeze bottle, I just squeeze it into it.
It's more convenient.
I really only use honey like when I drink tea. So.
It's more convenient, and people would rather have it. You have the glass fans who like to use the glass for beer mugs or for freezing. Use a iced tea.
Besides tea?
Yes. Do a lot more.
Okay. I'm gonna get one of these.
Hi, so you're Tim?
I'm Tim Lacoste, Red Hill Bee
Okay,
Farm.
I've bought your honey a couple times and made meat out of it, and then I've got one of the squeeze bottles just for eating, and it's pretty good, so I like it. So tell me where you're located.
I'm in Independence, Louisiana, and it's about 10 miles north of Tandon. And you picked the right spot because this is a raw product, straight out the hob into the bottle. And it has microscopic particles in it of pollen and propolis, which is beneficial to the diet. Most honeys are pasteurized to 104 degrees plus, and it cooks out a lot of the good pollen benefits. So we have it all bottled up in one, and I was just telling a previous gentleman, you have wax particles that float to the top with some of the pollen. So even though it don't look real appealing, it is probably a more healthier pick than this joint. So honey is glucose and fructose, and it's cured to an 18% moisture content in the hive. Bees put in nectar, and it's a sugar water mixture, so to speak, from the local plants and flowers, and they're all fanned at one time through a series of processes and dehumidifies the hive, and the honey becomes to a natural state of 18% moisture content. And this honey is actually from Chinese tallow trees. It's our invasive tree. I'm a forester.
Oh, wow.
Yep, and I know how invasive and damaging it is to our native forest, but it actually has a huge benefit to the honeybee population. Without the Chinese tallow tree, we wouldn't have the amounts of honey that farmers and local beekeepers have today. So it has some benefit nestled down in its evil.
Okay. I've always wondered how you separate the wax from the honey.
Well,
You gotta smash it up or do something to it?
let me show you a picture.
Okay.
We put the frames of honey, empty frames into the hive. The bees collect the nectar, fan it, cure it to become honey, and when it's cured to 18%, the bees know that. They cap it off with a flaky particle of wax. And when you see a frame full of pure capped wax and honey, you know it's ready to be taken from the hive. We pull this out and we put it into an extractor, a centrifuge extractor.
Oh, okay.
It's a motorized gadget. It's stainless steel tank, holds about 42 frames, slide them vertically.
Whoa,
in.
that much.
Press a button, mine's automated. You press a button, it goes through a series of cycles, 1 to 2 minutes in different rotations, about a 15-minute process time. And as it's slinging the honey out, it's hitting the walls of the stainless steel tank, collecting at the bottom, and we put it through a 400 micron filter. The 400 micron filter screens out everything but wax and particles such as propolis, pollen, and some wax particles.
So the honey's
goes straight in
dense.
the bottle.
Honey's dense and the wax floats or is lighter,
Yep,
so
it goes to the top.
separates by
Just like this
density. Okay. Okay. Well, I think I'll buy one that size.
All right.
So,
You come to the
how
right
much?
spot.
That's $8 for that pound. Is it
You got
1
1
pound?
pound glass and 1 pound plastic.
Okay.
Glass and plastic fan.
I'll take the squeeze bottle. Okay.
Bingo.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we're back from our little visit with Tim. And now I want to move on to these last two here, which were brought from other parts of the country. I made a trip to southeastern Missouri a few months ago, and I got this clover honey from Bekemeiers. And you look them up on the web and find out they have a Facebook page, and they're a sizable beekeeping operation doing clover honey, it's claimed here. When I put this into the set of 6 clover honeys that I tasted for the review, this one turned out to be my favorite because of distinctive notes of cinnamon. You can find some real winners and stars by looking around in grocery stores and markets and things when you travel. Pop into local places and see what you can find. So this wasn't very close to Neosho, but it was certainly within their market area, and I am glad I picked this up. In fact, I want to try something that I didn't ever try on camera, but I noticed it once just eating. So I've got a nice brown biscuit here, and I will link to that previous review of the 6 clover honeys where this did very well. But I remember the cinnamon notes really popping on a biscuit that I was eating one time. The very brown bottom, and the overall effect was like a cinnamon roll. Incredibly strong flavors from the browned biscuit and from the cinnamon notes in the honey. It was just kind of a surprising effect to get from a honey on a biscuit. Huh. Mm-hmm. Very cinnamon-like. And the brown biscuit really accentuates the flavors. So that's just an alert to get you to look around when you're traveling and look for local beers, local honeys, local produce, jams and jellies, pepper jelly, all sorts of things. It can be very interesting and very different from other parts of the country. So I'm glad I popped into the store and looked for honey and picked this up, because I have really enjoyed it since, and I've got a lot more enjoyment to go. And lastly here, this little guy came from Minnesota, Beebetown Apiary, locally produced in Rochester. My daughter made a trip to Minnesota and brought this back for me. She knew I was doing honeys and tastings and reviews, and this turned out to be very interesting. This place has a Facebook page, and you can see a little bit about it there, so that link will be in this description. It's going to be a long description, isn't it? But the taste of this honey is, look how light it is. It's yellow, pale. I don't know, they don't say what the flowers are. But the taste is different and really unique. Very thick. Super floral, super orangey, ginger, lime, lemon. Ooh. It reminds me of the lime thing from the UK. The lime blossom honey is what this tastes like. It is very strong and distinctive. Sweet and thick, and has that lime citrus punch. Wow, that's surprising. I knew there was something familiar in that. So I've just had a ton of joy from local honeys from other parts of the country. So get out there to your local farmers markets and grocery stores and see what they have. Talk to your neighbors and friends and find out what they do for farmers markets and produce and honey. So as I said, this will be the last honey review for a while. I might come back in a year or so, plus or minus. Again, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down or comments or complaints. Put them all down there, and subscribe to the channel and click the bell to get notified. After this, we're moving on to black licorice, so say goodbye to the bees and hello to a bunch of licorice candy. And that's all for now.